this week's eye-plucking episode of Gangsta, the relationship between Warwick and Nicholas becomes even more deeply disturbing and complex. The seeds of distrust are finally planted amongst the four big families of Ergastalum, and two psychopathic killers are on a never-ending quest to kill all of the Twilights in the city. I said it in my previous review, but this was another heavy episode of Gangsta, very atmospheric and still slowly revealing the entire backstory of Warwick, Nicholas, and how Nicholas just decided to kill all of Warwick's family in a giant bloody massacre. That's all revealed this week in this week's episode, and just by showing that, you can already see that the relationship between Warwick and Nicholas is not exactly buddy-buddy, brother relationship, but it's almost like he's sort of keeping Nicholas around so that he can make him suffer a little bit before his actual real death. He still sort of sees him as family, as sort of like a partner, but at the same time, he's basically making Nicholas go through life, see all of these terrible things, so that he can sort of atone for what he did to his family, despite the fact that Warwick was sort of okay with having his dad get filleted, because his dad was a complete asshole, practically disowned him by the end of the series, and his father is actually the one who is responsible for him losing his eye. He actually finds out that Warwick has been smoking, so he takes one of his cigarettes, lights it up, and plants it right into his eyeball, which of course causes it to be completely burned away, and then by the end of the episode, Nicholas actually pops it out of his freaking head. And would you believe that's just one of the two scenes this week where someone has an eyeball pulled from their freaking skull? This week's episode was pretty damned intense, to say the least. Other things that I really liked about this episode, of course, was the big reveal about Nicholas just going all rampage mode and killing his father, killing his brothers, the mother. It was just really messed up. He seemed like he was really enjoying himself, and he was about to kill himself, and that's when Warwick decided to step in. He's like, no, you're gonna live through this, you're gonna have to live with it, and you're gonna have these awful memories when you die. That's going to be my revenge. But until that happens, you're working with me, and we're getting shit done. It's really interesting, because Warwick doesn't like Twilights, but he works directly with one. It's just, I didn't expect this sort of complexity from this show, and damn it, it is a nice surprise. Other big developments from this episode, of course, is that we get to see all of the big families coming together and have this big discussion, because someone is out there killing all of these Twilights, and they all sort of suspect each other. You have the Cristianos, which is now led by apparently the old guy's daughter, who apparently died recently, and this cute little girl, the girl that you actually see in the intro of the show, she seems like she's gonna have something of a relationship with Nicholas, but that hasn't been disclosed quite yet. I don't think these guys are the ones to look out for. Obviously, the Corsicans seem like they're probably the bad guys. They're the ones who are probably hiring these two killers that we see. There's a lot of heavy implication to that, and there's been a lot of clues to that. Obviously, it's pretty obvious, but still, I cannot wait to see when that full reveal is here, and we'll actually get to see how this is all going to tie into this story. And that leads us to these two killers. There's Erica and Mikhail, who are taking out this one Twilight at the end of the episode. Little kid Mikhail, just this little boy with these nasty, sharp freaking teeth, looks like damn Zabuza from Naruto, just plucks this dude's eyeball out, and then his sister comes over and decapitates him. It's really freaking messed up, and it's always more disturbing when you have these younger, childlike characters who are going on these murdering sprees. But then again, this is Gangsta. It's just the kind of thing that it likes to do. Other cool things about this week's episode is there's more development with Allie, how she's getting closer to both Warwick and Nicholas. At the beginning, she's comforting Warwick after he has a bad dream, and at the very end of the episode, she gets to see Nicholas and tries to use her sign language, asking if she can stay with him a little bit longer. He basically says yes by saying, you're pretty much screwing up the sign language, so you need to study more. He doesn't want to admit it outright. That's just not the type of character Nicholas is. And he even sees Mikhail and Erica at the end of the episode, and as opposed to being freaked out or running away from it, he seems to get really excited as if he's ready to have a big battle. Maybe he has an existing relationship with these characters. All I know is, I can't wait to see it. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Gangsta? Another very good episode that I honestly thought was just going to be a drag, because the first half of the episode, not too much was revealed, just a little bit more of the backstory of Warwick and Nicholas. It really wasn't until the second half when you get that amazing backstory of Nicholas just going insane and killing the father and learning how Warwick actually lost his eye. It's really freaking messed up, and it just really shakes up the entire relationship and foundation of the series with Warwick and Nicholas. It's honestly going to change the way I view a lot of the earlier episodes, some of their dialogue, and how I'm going to view it as the series is going on, and it's a really, really nice way to shake things up. There's Dr. Theo, of course, who's definitely the doctor with a heart of gold. He's just a really interesting character. I wish they'd focus on him a little bit more, but then again, there's some other important elements. What I will say is, this is a good series because the side characters are just as interesting as the main characters. That's a pretty big accomplishment. In terms of the animation, artwork, everything looked pretty good this week. Nothing too crazy that you haven't seen from the series. Just clean and consistent. I wish that the backgrounds could look a little more interesting, but then again, the entire city basically has like this one color scheme, which is like different shades of brown, but that's just the entire style of the show. Otherwise, everything looked really good. The characters look really nice. The entire backstory with Nick and Warwick was great, and the introduction of Mikhail and Erica was really awesome. I can't wait to see more of these guys in action. Doug is back. It looks like he's going to be returning to his group. He even has an existing relationship with Chad. So apparently Chad works with a lot of these different Twilights. You know, he definitely seems like the good guy of the series. But then again, this is a series where you don't really know who to root for. There's good guys, but they're also bad guys at the same time. It's not exactly black and white either. Just like the relationship between Nicholas and Warwick. And that's definitely a big reason to check out this show. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 4 out of 5. I thought it was a little slow in some parts. Otherwise, I thought this was a very nice reveal episode. But there's still more that we have to learn. We still need to see more of the backstory of Warwick and Nicholas and how they got to where they are today. I like how every episode sort of intercuts between their flashbacks and what's actually going on in the modern story. So let's hope things pick up. This arc looks like it's about to get really entertaining, so I'm excited. So 4 out of 5 for me. Check it out, guys. So I like this episode a lot, but I want to hear from you. What did you think about this week's episode of Gangsta? What did you think about the big reveal that Nicholas was indeed the one who murdered Warwick's family and did it in just an instant rage? What do you want to see from the rest of the Gangsta anime series? Please tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. And you guys can also follow us on social media. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.